discuss on ancient Indian law, rule of law, and judicial pronouncements. I was asked on which topic I will be comfortable. I suggested this topic, and Professor Rashmi agreed readily. Very difficult ancient Indian law. The discussions and illustrations are difficult for various reasons. So we all are in the learning phase thanks to the policy of the government, especially National Education Policy 2020, that has pushed us to study more and more on ancient Indian law. And the more and more we study, we regret why we have not done it earlier. Now, to begin with, rule of law. Now, rule of law is not something that is new to us. Those who are research scholars, those who are law teachers, they are exposed to this word rule of law when they start studying constitution, especially article 14. So teachers generally go and begin with what Romans have suggested and Aristotle, where Aristotle said that law govern. So we take great pride that what Aristotle said. Then the next important milestone in the European jurisprudence, the Western jurisprudence that is found in Indian books are, Indian legal books are Dr. Bonham's case. In Dr. Bonham's case, what happened that Dr. Bonham was a medical practitioner and he started practicing without license. And then for without practicing without license, he was punished by a body. He challenged this punishment. He was imprisoned indeed. He challenged this imprisonment, and the matter came to Sir Edward Coke. Sir Edward Coke was made Chief Justice by James I, who was a king those days in England, and king had the authority to make a judge or remove a judge. He indeed approached Sir Edward Coke that Dr. Bonham case, doctor has to be punished. But it seemed that Sir Edward Coke was not in the mood, because he interpreted the law in favor of Dr. Bonham. Though there was some pressure from James, Sir Edward Coke has ultimately decided against the wishes and willingness of the king, that is James I. And here he said the supremacy of common law prevails, not the wishes of the king. In 1610, this was a type of unexpected statement by a judge. So therefore, Dr. Bonham case is supposed to be the second milestone in the area of rule of law, where a judge was so courageous. He knew that can be removed. And ultimately he was removed by the king. But he did not bother for his removal. And he said that supremacy of the common law will prevail. And common law says that Dr. Bonham cannot be punished for this. He maybe there can be other mechanisms to deal with Dr. Bonham, but imprisonment is not the command of the common law, and the common law that prevails, it is not the command of the king that prevails. That is why we remember Dr. Bonham even after 800 years have passed. Such courageous judge. So for rule of law, we discussed Dr. Bonham. Then we come to A.V. Dicey. His celebrated work, The Law of the Constitution, 1885, where he has formulated 3 propositions. No punishment except for a breach of law. It means there must be a law. If there is no law, no punishment. So law decides punishment. So therefore, it is not the king, it is not the wishes of the ministers, it is not the wishes of someone else. It is the law which is previously made that will decide any punishment. Second is the equality before the law, that the law treats everyone equal, be it king or peon, be it minister or a simple person. Law treats everyone equal, so it is the law which is supreme, not the king which is supreme. And then the legal spirit, the primacy of rights of individual, that the rights of individual are primary in nature, and therefore the sum and substance of rule of law is supremacy of law. That is law that is supreme, not the king, not the minister, not the queen. And we take great pride as a teacher, and I have taken great pride when I study these things. But then let us see what our ancient wisdom says. And Professor T.V. Subba Rao has made a slight reference earlier, just before, maybe 10 minutes before he has made this reference. And see what Brihad Aranak Upanishad says. I'm not going in Sanskrit text, but the meaning of text in Hindi is, धर्म राजाओं का भी राजा है, उससे कहीं अधिक शक्तिशाली और कठोर. Dharma is the king of the king. Subba Rao sir has just referred this. Dharma is the king of the king. Means he's superior, he's supreme king. And the dharma is more powerful and more strict than a king can be. कानून से शक्तिशाली कुछ नहीं हो सकता. Nothing can be more powerful than the law. Here law means dharma. With the help of this law, am I connected?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. You are connected.
Okay. So, with the power of this dharma, even a person who is very poor, very weak, nirbala, he becomes more powerful than the king. So it is the law which prevails. It was said way back, thousands of years back, Brihad Aranak Upanishad. This is the actual wordings that I have, that you can find. Now, is there any illustration of these type of things? So one is the theory, and the theory says that dharma is above everyone, above everything, and therefore dharma rules the king, dharma rules the country. It is not the king that rules the country. And this is one reason why the emblem of Supreme Court says yato dharmas tato jaya. Jahan dharma hai wahi jaya hai. Dharma does not mean religion. Dharma means ultimate duty. Dharma means Satya. Satya and Dharma are two pillars of ruling a country. So Dharma has no direct link with religion or faith. So for example, what is the Dharma of fire? आग का धर्म क्या है? जलना. To burn. To give heat. पानी का धर्म क्या है? प्यास बुझाना. What is the dharma of water? To quench our thirst. It has no link with religion. What is the dharma of a शिक्षक, teacher? पढ़ाना. Critical thinking develop करना. What is the dharma of a student? अध्ययन करना. गुरु का सम्मान करना. This is dharma. What is the putra dharma? What is putri dharma? What is pita dharma? What is patni dharma? What is pati dharma? So this is dharma. It has no link with religion. Dharma means ultimate duty. So therefore, yato dharmas tato jaya means where there is dharma, जहां ultimate duty है, वहीं जय है, वहीं विजय है. This is the emblem of the Supreme Court. Now, is there any illustration of rule of law? How to apply rule of law? So there are at least one illustration. There are many illustrations. I am just citing one illustration. This illustration I have taken from Justice Katju, who keeps on writing on his blog and in Facebook. There are not many judges who are active on social media. Fortunately, Justice Katju is active. Many times he writes many meaningful things. So he has referred Raj Tarangini. And in Raj Tarangini, he referred that how the king of Kashmir, Chandrapida, he protected a charmakar, that is a cobbler, against his own official and established rule of law. So what happened? That there was a proposal that there should be a temple of Tribhuvan Swami, Lord Tribhuvan Swami. So where to make this temple? So those people who were aware of this, which place is a good place, they identified a particular place. That in that place, Tribhuvan Swami temple should be made. It so happened that that place belonged to a cobbler. एक जो जूता बनाने वाले हैं वो उनकी झोपड़ी थी, वो हिस्सा, वो जो जगह थी वो उनकी झोपड़ी थी वो. So officials came to the cobbler and that informed the cobbler that this is the dictate of the king. He wishes that a temple be made here, Tribhuvan Swami temple, Lord Tribhuvan Swami temple be made, and the experts people have found this place as the correct place. So therefore now you have to leave and we will take possession of this place. So the cobbler was very much worried. He had only place, it was his abode. He was very much worried. And somehow the king came to know about this incident. And when he came to this place, see what he said. He said, stop the construction. The king says, the king who wanted that the Lord Tribhuvan Swami temple be made, which was identified, the correct place was identified by the expert people. But the king said, stop the construction or build the temple elsewhere. Who would tarnish such a pious act by illegally depriving a man of his land? This is what the wisdom, what the wish of the king is. What type of king should be? This is how a king is regulated by dharma. He says that this pious act of making Lord Tribhuvan Swami temple will be tarnished if we deprive a man of his land, that too illegally. There has to be a procedure. There has to be a process. There has to be rule of law. You cannot just pass the dictate and take up the possession of a land just because you are officers of the king. There has to be some process. If we, who are the judges of what is right and what is not, act unlawfully, who would then abide by the law? It is a direction to anyone who judges. So king, because those days it is the king who judges, who used to judge. We also judge. As a teacher, we judge our students when we examine our answer sheets, when we take any decision in favor or against a student. So we all should be very much careful that this is not only for judges in the courts. The dictate says, the illustration says from Raj Tarangini chapter 4, if we who are judges of what is right and what is not act unlawfully, who would then abide by the law? This is the whole philosophy. If you want the enforcement of law, rule of law means it should be enforced also properly. And how can it be enforced? If you yourself abide by the law. If kings, if the judges, if the ministers do not abide by the law, you cannot enforce the rule of law. So this is one of the very, very excellent statement in context of rule of law. I am sure when next time we are going to our classes, the learned faculty members, PhD scholars, other participants, if they go to their classes, I am sure these two verses can be very much useful to our classes, so that we can convey the Indian wisdom, ancient Indian wisdom, to the present generation and to the next generation. So it is very good that we should study European literature, Arastu. We should study what Justice Coke said. We must convey what Dicey said, but then we should begin with what Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad and what Raj Tarangini said about rule of law. So not only rule of law, but how to enforce the rule of law, and then how to compensate. Now you can see what the cobbler says: just as the palace is to your majesty, so is the hut to me. जैसे आपके लिए महल है, वैसे मेरे लिए ये छोटी सी झोपड़ी है. I could not bear its demolition. इसे तोड़ देंगे तो हम इसको bear नहीं कर सकते, हम रह नहीं सकते, फिर कहाँ रहेंगे फिर? However, see, he gives solutions also. However, if your majesty asks for it, अगर majesty राजा मुझसे मांगते हैं, I shall give it up. मैं इसे प्रेम से दे दूंगा. Seeing your just behavior, आपके अच्छे व्यवहार को देखते हुए. So this shows that the palace and the hut both are equal. Both are equal. Equality principle is applicable, and at the same time the solution is given that majesty should not use his power. If the majesty, if the king, if the state, if the powerful person wants something, he has to make just behavior. Rule of law needs just behavior also. So king ultimately purchased the land after paying a satisfactory price. You can see in the fundamental right chapter, we have 31A, which talks about compensation if we take property of anyone. So this is one illustration that can be cited when we teach rule of law, when we teach enforcement of rule of law, when we teach fundamental rights. So yielding to another, however low, adhering to the principle of Raj Dharma is the appropriate course for a king. I wish you well. May you live long, upholding the supremacy of the law. Can we find another illustration of rule of law which shows an exception? That rule of law means that everyone is equal before law. But equal before law does not mean a mathematical equality. There are people who are more powerful, there are people who are less powerful, there are people who are vulnerable. You cannot treat a goat with a king, with a lion. So vulnerable group or a more powerful person cannot be treated equally, and therefore exception has to be made. And one can find an exception from Ramcharitmanas. In Kishkinda Kand, there is one chaupai which says, धर्म हेतु अवतरहि गोसाई, मारहि मोहि व्याध की नाई, मैं बैरी सुग्रीव प्यारा, अवगुण कवन नाथ मोहि मारा. The story we all know. What happened? That there was a fight between Sugriv and Bali, and Bali had got the blessings that whosoever will be fighting in front of him, his power will automatically transfer to Bali. So Sugriv was not finding enough power, enough courage to fight Bali. No one could fight Bali because Bali had a special power. Even Ram could not fight in front of him, make a frontal attack to Bali. So what he did, that he attacked Bali not without making a frontal attack, but from a side he attacked Bali. So this was an attack which was a type of unfair attack, because Bali was not aware of that Ram is also targeting him. So therefore, when Bali was finally attacked and going to die, he said, धर्म हेतु अवतरहि गोसाई, हे भगवान आपका अवतार तो धर्म के लिए हुआ है. He is indeed conveying his anguish to Lord Rama कि you have come to this earth to establish dharma. मारे मोही व्याध की नाई, मुझे छिपकर क्यों मारा आपने, शिकारी की तरह मुझे क्यों मारा, मुझे तो सामने सामने आपको मारना चाहिए था. You must have killed me by frontal attack, not by concealing yourself, not by hiding yourself. So that way he is arguing that you are unfair, you are against working something which is against rule of law. But see how Lord Rama has answered. And Lord Rama says, Anuj Badhu Bhagini Sutanari, छोटे भाई की पत्नी, पुत्री और जो महिलाएं हैं, ये सभी नारियां समान हैं. बहन है, पुत्री है, छोटे भाई की पत्नी है. बाली ने सुग्रीव की जो पत्नी थी, सुग्रीव छोटा भाई था, उसकी पत्नी को जबरदस्ती अपने यहां रख लिया था. तो इसलिए भगवान राम कहते हैं कि जो लोग भी महिलाओं को इस तरह की खराब दृष्टि से देखते हैं, इन्हीं कुदृष्टि बिलोकी जोई, बिलोक मतलब देखना, इन्हें जो खराब दृष्टि से देखता है, एनीवन who watches them, who sees them, who behaves with these women in a bad manner, in an ill fashion. Tahi badhe kachu paap na hoi. Even these people are killed. It is not a sin at all. इन लोगों को मार देने से कोई पाप नहीं होता है. लॉर्ड रामा है जस्टिफाइड. So that way, this is a type of exception to rule of law. That because the power of Bali was exceptional, nobody could defeat him. So therefore, in those cases, equality had a different type of principle. Equality for equals, unequality among unequals. So this is not unfair to kill this type of people who consider women with a very bad, who ill treat women. So in those cases, these people can be killed. This also reminds me the new Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, which has a special chapter on crime against offences against women, which are chapter 5. And Home Minister has identified that in order to give priority to women, offences against women, we have dedicated a separate chapter. So that shows that the women, Ramcharitmanas, one of the ancient epic, that indicates that the crime against women has to be given top priority and exceptions can be made. So these are two illustrations of rule of law. I am citing one example, one case from National Lawyers Campaign versus Honorable Shri Justice J.S. Khear, 2016. In this case, Justice Agrawal has cited one illustration from Madras, and he indicated that how in the very premise of the High Court there is a chariot, and the chariot has a history. So there was a king, Chola, and he had hung a giant bell in front of his palace. So anyone who seeks justice, he can come and the bell can be used. So it is not the Aurangzeb, it is not the Mughal emperor who has done it. In our ancient wisdom, there are illustrations. This is access to justice. Today we talk about access to justice. This is access to justice. That king says I am easily approachable. The king and the state authorities should be easily approachable to everyone. So this is one illustration. So one day it so happened that a young calf was crushed under the wheels of the chariot of his son. So mother of the calf, she came to that place, and the king came to know about this incident, that his own son crushed the calf by negligently driving his chariot. We all would be surprised to know that the king said that even if he is my son, he will be given the same punishment. He will have to face the same pain, and he himself killed the king. So these stories show that even if you are a king or son of the king or a minister, law is always above you. Dharma is always above you. And for purpose of ensuring rule of law and dharma, the kings do not compromise the welfare of their own sons or their own family members. I can cite another illustration from A.S. Narayana Tikchalu versus State of Andhra Pradesh, where Justice Hansaria had referred to Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad. and identified dharma with truth. There are statements from Mahabharata. I am skipping these statements to save time. He has referred how a king should be there, taking how a king should be should run this country, one country. A king who, after having sworn that he shall protect his subjects, fails to protect them, should be executed like a mad dog. Can we think about this type of philosophy in Western world? Western world believes in king can do no wrong. In Western world, king is the representative of the church, and therefore he cannot do any wrong. In Indian philosophy, in Hindu mythology, in ancient Indian wisdom, in Bharatiya knowledge system, Mahabharata says that the king can be executed if he is not dharma parayan, if he is not welfare oriented. This is the command of the dharma. I am just leaving this. One high court judgment can be referred for res judicata, where Brihaspati Smriti has been referred for the purpose of res judicata. As the time is almost over, I will just take 1 minute and then questions if possible. I will just cite another case of Neera Yadav versus CBI. Neera Yadav was a government officer, IS officer. She was convicted for abusing her position and allotting some plots in favor of her family members. So, in her bail petition, what the court has said from Kautilya Arthashastra, it is very significant. Just as it is impossible not to taste the honey or the poison that finds itself at the tip of the tongue, so it is impossible for a government servant not to eat up at least a bit of the king's revenue. Just as fish moving underwater cannot possibly be found out either as drinking or not drinking water, so government servants employed in the government work cannot be found out taking money. It is so possible to mark the movements of the birds flying high up in the sky, but not so is it possible to ascertain the movement of government servants for hidden purpose. Kautilya says, therefore, that it is not always easily possible to identify and find evidence. So, therefore, the job of a judge, job of a prosecutor, job of a state is to interpret the law in such a fashion that the accused does not get the benefit of doubt in all matters. While benefit of doubt is the established rule of criminal jurisprudence, that does not mean benefit of doubt should be interpreted in a very loose fashion. Very loose fashion. So, in cases of corruption, law should be interpreted very strictly, not something that always goes in favor of the accused. This is CBI, Neera Yadav versus CBI. There are many cases that can be cited. I am citing two cases. One is from Madhyam Broadcasting versus Kerala State. In that case, Kerala High Court has cited that it is duty of the king to protect this country. And finally, we all have the we all are aware of the recent judgment of 2024 Devendra Kumar case, where the Supreme Court has permitted that there can be some classification among scheduled caste. In that case, ancient Indian wisdom has been quoted like anything, especially by Justice Mittal. Justice Mittal has quoted ancient Indian wisdom on caste, on relevance of caste. So anyone who is interested can go to see the judgment, and there are more than 5-7 paragraphs from ancient Indian wisdom or Bharatiya Gyan Parampara, Bharatiya knowledge system. With that, I conclude this part of discussion. I have a list of around maybe 25 such judgments where ancient Indian wisdom, Bharatiya knowledge system has been recognized by the Supreme Court. One such judgment is Aruna Rai, where Justice Hansaria has said that Sanskrit is our own heritage, part of heritage. It is the part of heritage of India. It was argued by the government of those days in 1994 that Sanskrit is the language of Hindus. The Supreme Court has rejected this argument and said that no, Sanskrit is a part of our heritage and our ancient wisdom is reflected in Sanskrit. So therefore, if you teach Sanskrit, it is not against secularism, it is not against basic structure theory. There are many such judgments which can be cited here. Thank you again for asking me to discuss this. I love this type of topic, and I think this information will not stay with you, but this information will pass to the from the faculty members to their students in the classes so that they can be aware of how rich our ancient Indian wisdom is. Thank you very much. Thank you again. Any questions, any comments, they are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. We are immensely benefited because of your session. In fact, a few.
Very informative and knowledgeable, Mr. Professor Anurag ji.
Sir, I think 1 month ago, I was at Indian Law Institute and Professor Anurag Deep, he organized a workshop on ancient Indian legal system only. Some of the participants of that workshop, they are present over here. So, thank you so much, sir, for giving us insight on this topic. And as you rightly said that when we go to the school, go to the classes, so generally we started with the Western thinkers, that how they were thinking and how their theories were there on the various aspects of law, including rule of law. But yes, our objective of this faculty development program is the same, that in our teaching pedagogy, we are required to include the ancient Indian legal system and their thoughts. And with this objective only, Professor Dr. T.V. Subbarao sir, he encouraged that yes, we can have a faculty development program, which is becoming a capacity building program for all of us. So thank you so much for your great contribution in the same. So with this now, we would like to open the floor for question answer session. I request Professor Dr. T.V. Subbarao sir, if you can also add few words on the same theme.
I told you now, it is excellent. A wonderful contribution, meaningful and useful from Professor Anurag ji. And then as a student, generally I will be rather making one or two lighter in comments. The first thing is that he was referring to Dr. Bonham's case of 1610, wherein Lord Coke wanted to test the law of the parliament on the touchstone of common law. Actually, that was an initial stage of judicial review by itself. But the thing is that judicial review died in England with this case and sprouted in America in Marbury versus Madison in 1803. That is the link between these two. And surprisingly, Lord Coke, who was canvassing for a sort of judicial review, subsequently started supporting sovereignty of parliament. And one more thing with regard to ancient law was that what he said is a wonderful and justification. When Wali was killed by Ram, there was one more ground which Ram said that you can kill Chatushpada, quadruped, hiding behind the bushes. So Wali is equated to that. He can jump from one tree to another like his Chatushpada type. So it is perfectly in accordance with the Dharma That is another defense which Ram has stated. So ultimately the speech was wonderful. What we request Anurag Deep ji is that give us the list of cases. We will ask our staff members to go through them, and then we can have plenty of material. He's there. He's not listening to us.
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm here, sir. I'm here.
Good, good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Any questions? Ask for questions.
Yes.
During
So, Vinayak, you please unmute yourself. Vinayak. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. So, as a corollary to what you were, explaining before, the rule of law, which has been enshrined under the, concept of dharma in the ancient India. So, there has been reference to an antonym of the rule of law, that is the Matsya Nyaya, the big fish always devours the small fish, which has also been provided under Arthashastra. So, that is just a reference and observation I wanted to make,
Yes, yes,
regarding
yes.
it is an extension of rule of law. That's
Matsya Nyaya. Wonderful. Anybody else?
Yes. So, once again, I wanted to reiterate on the same that, as Sir also pointed out, Professor Anurag, during his session, that generally we refer the Western legal thinkers' thoughts rather than ancient Indian legal thinkers' thoughts. So, therefore, uh, this FDP is only to revisit the same concept which we know only as stories, but now we are using all those stories to relate it with our legal concepts and the principles like rule of law. So all of us, we may be aware about the stories which Dr. Tushita, she was also referring, Professor Anurag, he was also referring, but now a new dimension has been unfolded by the speakers of the day. So, as and when you will comprehend on all these things, please feel free to post your queries, your comments, your observations. I'm very happy to tell to all the participants that we are receiving your emails, not only to appreciate that yes, lots of good sessions were there, but also with their comments and with their observations and with their inputs also. And we are emailing those inputs to the respective speakers as well. So,
Tushita is having some question.
okay.
Tushita? Dr. Tushita.
Yeah, so Dr. Ambika Nair, she has also given one observation that Dr. Ambika, are you there? So I'm just reading your comment or the observation that
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
yes,
Yes, ma'am.
yes, yes.
It's just my
So
observation that the traces of rule of law can be found in the famous Tamil literature Tirukkural also
Yes.
from I think from couplets 540. It starts from which talks about good governance, how a king has to rule the kingdom. So I just was making it as an observation because that also belongs to the ancient legal system.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
yes.
Yeah.
yes,
So
Professor Ajay
if I can,
Bhupendra Jaiswal,
if
yes,
I can add a line
yes, please.
that uh, this classical Tamil Classical Literature Institute in Chennai has done a very good job by translating these literatures in English, in Hindi, in other languages. And I am fortunate enough that I have 4 copies of this literature, one in English and 3 in English and 1 in Hindi. And my students in ILI, I'm giving them those that they should use it. So if anyone wants to see those copies, they can come to me, and the copy of Tirukkural is with me in English as well as in Hindi also. As well as in Hindi also. That copy is there with me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, Professor Ajay, you wanted to add something?
एक प्रश्न आया था मत्स्य न्याय को लेके। मत्स्य न्याय से मुक्ति के लिए ही समाज की स्थापना हुई। अगर मत्स्य पुराण को माना जाए तो मत्स्य न्याय था और उससे मुक्ति के लिए ही समाज की स्थापना हुई थी, जिसके लिए राजा बनाया गया था। यह डिवाइन थ्योरी इंडिया में जो शुरुआत होता है वो मत्स्य न्याय के विरोध में ही हुई। और दूसरी बात जो रूल ऑफ लॉ का है, तो रूल ऑफ लॉ में एक राजा पे ही विधि का शासन नहीं, विधाता पे भी विधि का शासन। विधाता भी विधि को ब्रीच नहीं कर सकता।
Thank you so much for your inputs.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am, I'm Sri Durga. I'm a
Yes,
faculty
yes.
at SME. I was listening to Anurag Deep sir's lecture. Always a pleasure to hear you, sir. You have come for, listened to your FDP also. So, just out of interest in the subject, I just wanted to add something. You were discussing about this Ramacharita where the conversation between
Hello?
Bali and I hope I'm audible.
Yes,
Yes, please go
Yeah, the
ahead.
conversation between Bali and Lord Ram. So, coming from Kerala, so we have this Kathakali. In Kathakali, there is a story of the death of Bali, and there is a conversation between Lord Ram and Bali. So here, Bali is questioning the the act of killing Bali by Lord Ram, and he says that you are a sovereign, and I am also sovereign, and I have never attacked your country, and what is a what right you have to kill me. So I feel that somewhere there is a question of public international law, and right to attack another sovereign for when it is not a matter of self defense also. So here Bali is questioning Lord Ram in this, and later the rest of the part is like what you said, that Ramcharitmanas, same thing that Bali says, Lord Ram says that how the act of keeping your brother's wife as your wife. But I just thought I'll just add to that because I felt this to be little interesting and connected to what I saw in Kathakali.
Asa, can you also add what Lord Rama has responded to it when it was asked that why did you attack me when I have not attacked you? Whether in
Yes,
Kathakali there is a
yes,
address
yes,
to yes, please.
yes. So he is responding the same way as you narrated about Ramcharitmanas. He says the same thing. There is no direct enmity. You have not attacked my country, so and neither I have any enmity towards you. The only act is the adharma that you did, where you kept your brother's wife, forcefully as your wife. This is the reason. So yeah, I mean somewhere Lord Ram is correct, but somewhere I feel when it is a matter of sovereign versus another sovereign, so there is some kind of violation of the principles of international law. So this is what my my observation from the play. So just I thought I'll just discuss this because I found it to be a little interesting.
Yes,
आज
Miss.
राम का जो पूरा रिस्पांस है वो ये नहीं है। राम का रिस्पांस ये है कि इक्ष्वाकु वंश का ही पृथ्वी है, पृथ्वी पे शासन करने का अधिकार इक्ष्वाकु वंश को है, और इस समय राजा भरत उसके शासक हैं, इस नाते मेरे को आपको पनिश करने का अधिकार।
Okay,
रामचरितमानस और रामायण दोनों में ये प्रसंग।
Sir, if I am permitted,
Yes,
I don't
sir.
know whether it is subject to, of course, verification, confirmation. The same question Sita Mata has also asked Ram. When Ram has assured all the rishis that he is going to liquidate all the demons when they were in the prayer or meditation, these demons used to come and disturb them and he used to kill them also. And when Ram came for this Aranyakanda, in that we can see, then Sita asks, you are assuring everybody that you will kill Agar and Agres and plus all the demons. They did not harm you, why should you kill? He said, according to the dictation of the father, I will have to go to the forest. And then I will have to wear this type of dress and all these things. But I have not ceased to be a Kshatriya. Bharati is rather ruling the Ayodhya. I am going to rule this forest. It is my duty to liquidate all those people. That is one answer that he has given directly to Mata Sita also. And secondly, here also I was telling you, not only killing a sovereign, a king, something like that, he is a quadruped. So killing a quadruped is not an offense if it is behind the bushes, when it is harming the others. So the same thing can be applied here also. Rama says that rather my reference will be, of course, not from Ramacharita I am from rather Valmiki Ramayana I am telling you. It will be subject to verification, of course. Rama, name itself goes, Maricha says, Rama Vigraham Dharmaha Sadhu Satya Parakramaha. And also 16 qualities when Valmiki asks Narada, he reveals. So, generally, you will not find any difficulty in the character of Ram. But same is not true with reference to Mahabharata. We can find several things with every almost important person.
Shri Durgaji, as you relate it with public international law, because you took Sri Ram as one sovereign king and also Vali as another sovereign king. So here we can apply the principle of responsibility to protect also.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yes, ma'am. You are right.
So if we will apply R2P, then in that case, yes, Sri Rama should have whatever he has done, it is as per R2P. Right?
Yes.
No, those now present day principles may not be rather really applicable there. But I think it's okay.
I'm just playing it devil's advocate here. There are a lot of aspects to everything, so I just thought.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, wonderful.
Yes,
Wonderful it is.
and that's why it is very much interesting also.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Tushita
Yes,
was
yes.
asking some question and keeping silence. Why?
No, sir, actually it was almost covered up. So that's okay, sir.
Which one?
But-
Which topic is covered?
I was talking about the aspect of dharma only. And I wanted to say that dharma was a very individual thing at that time. It was not a case of one is forcing the other to do the thing. It was more of a, self-motivated kind of a followance of the concept of self-conscience and dharma and equity. So that is my observation, sir.
No. Dharma was very specifically rather mentioned in either in Vedas as well as Smritis, and if there is a doubt, it is exemplified in digestion commentaries and plus Puranas. As I was telling you, Mahabharata and Ramayana, these two are considered to be itihasas.
Yes,
There may be variations. From
Right.
one area to other area. If you take some from our place, the translation that was made by some people there, it is different. But Valmiki Ramayana and Vyasa Mahabharata, they are considered to be itihasas. Itihasas means this has happened. So it was not that much unclear or vague or uncertain. Only thing is that there is no equivalent English word for the same.
Yes, thank you so much. So now, once again, thank you so much to all the speakers, and special thanks to our chairperson, Professor Dr. T.V. Subbarao sir, Anurag sir. It's a wonderful evening because of your session, and a very good
Sir,
beginning
right,
has
sir.
been done by our Dr. Tushita Sharma. Thank you so much for all the questions which you have posed, dear participants. So with this, tomorrow we will meet once again. So let's keep our energy intact for tomorrow as well. And tomorrow we are having a session on public international law itself. It will be taken by Professor Subramanya, Dean, CMR University, Bangalore. And we will be having one more session by a political scientist. She is Dr. Garima Singh. So tomorrow we will meet once again, same time and same platform. Thank you.
Very good.
Recording stopped.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Good evening. We'll meet tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Anurag sir. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.